Hey folks, Pete here with the River Kings, and today we're doing a video on how to keep all your electronics going on a trip. And specifically, I got some requests for what I used as a setup on my Grand Canyon trip. It was a 21-day trip on the water. I had 2 GoPros, 2 radios, an inReach, a phone, a big camera, and a couple other little things I had to keep going for the whole time. And let's talk about how I did that. Everything's charging this morning. Got the big box out tonight, charging a little bit of everything. GoPro, phone, GPS. So basically to start, it's we'll have to just do a little simple math. One GoPro battery is about 1,700 milliamp hours. And how many of those you use during the day will determine what kind of battery bank or what kind of system you'll need to keep everything fueled through the duration of the trip. I film a lot, so I pulled, I think, 5 terabytes of footage out of the Grand Canyon off the 2 GoPros. So that's a pretty good bit. I would go through several batteries a day, and I had to keep this camera going from the beginning to the end because I didn't want to miss a thing. And as well, I had these Rocky Talkies, which are actually very good on battery. I had my Garmin inReach, and it's not with me because it was lent to me by Bonnie from B&A Adventures, but I had another big camera to get some of the B-roll shots, and of course my phone, and then I was charging a couple other people's phone when they had some trouble with solar chargers or whatnot. But so basically I had to do the math on that. 1,700 times how many batteries you're going to use per day times how many days you're going to use. That'll give you the overall number of milliamp hours you're going to need for the trip. And you have to factor in cold loss. If it gets really cold, sometimes the batteries and the battery banks can lose the power. You also have to factor in that you're not going to transfer all of the power out of the power bank into the battery. So I only factor about 80% of the power bank I'm taking to be able to be used. Because you don't want to, you know, if it says, for example, 40,000 milliamp hours of battery, you don't want to plan on getting all 40,000 out of that. So maybe 35,000 or something like that would be a better bet for you to get out of that 40,000. So yeah, so here's my GoPro box. We'll just start with this. This is my system. I have all my batteries numbered. A couple of them, one's in the camera, and one is missing because I just donated a camera to whatever random stranger picked it up from the boat ramp that I dropped it out of the boat on yesterday. At the end of a trip with the boys, someone needed help loading a kayak. I set the GoPro up on the stern of my kayak, which was already loaded on my truck, to help out. I forgot. I never came back for it. I drove off, discovered it at lunch. We drove back. Someone else had already got it. I walked all the ditches, but hopefully someone will call me and let me know that they found it and get it back to me. It's got my name and number on there. It's got all the footage in there from the last day of the trip, which was the most disappointing. But yeah, that's why there's 2 batteries missing out of my box. Also, while I have you talking about this, I also do systems. So as they're all numbered or lettered, that's important because sometimes these will become defective. For example, I know B is starting to swell a little bit. I don't know if that picks up at all, but it's starting to swell a little bit, which means it's going bad. So I don't trust it. It's in there, but I got to replace it. C also starting to swell. Those are my oldest 2 along with A, but A somehow is doing fine. And these tolerances are such that I can feel that as well. But if I have a battery that, you know, just kind of starts glitching out on me while I'm using it, I'll look at the number and I won't use that battery again until I either replace it or whatever. You have to change these out from time to time. I also do that with my SD cards. I have everything numbered. And normally I have a bunch of SD cards in there, but at the moment they're all organized on my editing table because I've just wrapped up the Grand Canyon videos, and there was about 20 SD cards full of footage, most of them 256 gig cards. And so yeah, when I use one of these batteries, say I use E in the camera and I get done with it, when I put it back in here, I put it in upside down. So at the end of the day, I can see which ones need to be charged. First thing I do when I get to camp is pull this box out, pull my little battery brick or 2. I have 2 of them with me most times, and start hooking up to a power bank to get those charged immediately. for the next day's use. So this is the first part of the system. This is my Pelican 1120, and Alan is making these inserts, and they're really nice. Keeps my 2 GoPros, all my little gadgets, my charging brick, 13 batteries, about the same number of cards, all that's in here. And then all the little gadgets that you might need during the day, like, I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff in here. Extra sticky pads in case my helmet mount comes off, all that good stuff. That's in here. So this can fuel me probably 2 full days of adventure without the need for a power bank. And so that's good. So 13 batteries. I've got a couple to replace. I'll go back, all Enduros. Enduros are better. And this is for GoPro 10. That's what I've been using. Yeah, that's the box. This is what I'm trying to keep going. So let's move on to how I keep that going. All right, so right off the bat with your charging, you're gonna have 2 obvious choices. One is solar, and the other is just gonna be power banks. And on a normal kayak camping adventure, when I've got my Yukon or a kayak like that, and I'm in a normal river, like say here in the East Coast, then I can basically count on this Voltaic 17-watt solar panel to keep me going through the adventure. But I never trust any one piece completely, so there's some redundancy built in. This is the solar panel, completely waterproof, connects to little red wire, and that will run to this box. The red wire will hook in there, and in the box I can do pass-through charging all day to the Voltaic. It's basically a laptop battery, but it's like a very sophisticated charging battery, so it can take that raw power from the solar panel and convert it into what this panel needs to charge. I've got 2 of those in here. Each one of these batteries is 24,000 milliamp hours, so that'll give me about 11 GoPro battery charges per block if I use the 80% of this kind of theory. So 20,000 gives you roughly 9 battery charges. So 24, you get a couple extra. So that's 9. That's 18 batteries worth of charge. And just this block, if I was taking just this on a trip, hook it up to the charger, and this is all refilled. Each brick is, I can refill a brick in a day worth of paddling. So I can get 24,000 milliamp hours filled up per day from the sun if I need that. And I've done many adventures that way, because this isn't really all that heavy, and it's all in one, and it's got a lot of it's got 22 GoPro battery worth of charge without the solar. So that's a lot. I can get a lot done even if I had to pare down my footage. But as long as I'm still able to charge, I'll be filled up on everything every night. All my GoPro batteries full every night, and then by the end of the day, the brick is full again. And I'll usually not use but one of those power banks inside, but I have 2 in case one stops working or I go through periods of no sun, in which case you'll fall back on the stored power that you have. So that can be important. I took this kit with me on the Grand Canyon as well, but I decided this would not be my primary kit for getting down the Grand Canyon, because I didn't want to trust that I would have sun in the Grand Canyon. Number one, it's winter, and even though it was a desert, I kind of anticipated clouds, because you get a lot of clouds in winter. And we had kind of unusual weather for the Grand Canyon, a lot more clouds, a lot more rain than most people normally experience. The other problem with the Grand Canyon is that the walls are so tall, and the part of the river you're in, inside those walls, is so thin that you have very limited sunshine, direct sunshine that will reach you during the day. And I didn't want to trust that I could get enough sun out of this to keep me going for 21 days straight. So for the Grand Canyon, I kind of juiced it up a little bit, and in this box, I went and got a bunch of power banks. So this was the magic box, I called it. 40,000 milliamp hours. I have 4 of those. I have 320,000, roughly 20,000 milliamp hour batteries in here. Each one of these bricks will give me 18 GoPro battery charges. So I have 18, 18, 18, 18. So you can say roughly 70 to 75 GoPro battery charges on those. and then 36 more on these other ones, and then 22 more on these other two. So going into it, I felt like I had enough power without any sun to get me all the way through the Grand Canyon, doing the math that way. So the quick math was, with all the battery banks that I brought with me, including the solar banks, I had 260,000 milliamp hour of battery. 121 times I can charge a battery without needing solar power, which gave me 5.79 batteries per day that I could use. So if we round, I just round everything down. Let's just say 5 batteries a day on the GoPro, I can get through this trip without needing solar. And most days I didn't use 5. Some days I used more. Some days were really heavy and I would use 6. Other days I used more like 3 or 4, just depending on what we were doing, depending on how heavy the rapids were and things like that. The layer days I usually got by with 1 battery because we weren't doing quite as much, just a little hiking here and there, and the camera wasn't staying, you know, in a record mode on the river. So that's what I did getting down the river. These 2 boxes provided me 260,000 milliamp hours of battery. This gave me unlimited solar potential, and I could have hooked this up on the raft while we were paddling and be charging as I needed. I did not do that once. I did use this twice during layovers just to charge. And I would use these batteries before I use these as well, so that I could replenish these easily without having to transfer power from that battery to one of these batteries. So if I try to keep things full, it would go into these batteries first. Therefore, I'll also use these batteries first. At the end of the trip, I did have power bank left over, so I had surplus power. Also, Dave Reese was there with he had his own solar charger, and he wasn't using it on the Nankoweap, I'm sorry, at the Bass Camp layover. So he lent me that charger, and I fully charged a 40,000 milliamp hour that day too. So I was way ahead of the game on battery power, which is the way I like it. I didn't want to get behind, because that really would have hurt my feelings to have everything I need and then not have the power to record or have to really meter down the footage I captured. So that's my theory on it. Just do the quick math and make sure you have enough. So I've also done 2 small overnighter trips in the last month with friends, one on the New River and one here on the Hall River in town. Both of them were 2 full days of paddling and a simple overnighter. This box would be enough to get me through it, but I did bring one of the 20,000 power banks with me just to charge the phone up or to plus up these batteries, just because it's good practice. So this box is always with me, and then the length of the trip, the kind of trip I'm taking, will kind of start dictating what system I need to bring. Is it just a bunch of power banks? Is it the solar charger? Is it both? So basically you just got to tailor your system to your trip and to your style of recording. Perhaps you're someone who doesn't record much. For me, it's kind of accuracy through volume. The camera is almost always on, almost always recording. And so that takes a lot of battery. It takes a lot of SD cards. I had about 30 SD cards with me on the trip. There again, I just don't want to run out of something like that, because for me, it's very important to document all that and to get all that footage. So that's how I do it. Pete with the River Kings. Hopefully this helps. Thanks for the suggestion in the comments, and let me know what else you want to know, what other kind of videos I could make that might be of interest or of value to you guys. And I'll catch you next time.